Recording button.
Hello, guys. It's Tim Johnson here, and I know I've been playing a lot of saxophone versions of songs that we know and love, but in this little YouTube video that I'm going to do for you guys today, I'm going to talk about a little bit how you can learn the saxophone by ear if you are vision impaired. I know I also covered in one of my videos the vibrato movement and how that's done with your voice. But I'm going to show you a couple of tricks that you can do on the saxophone also that involves your voice as far as humming into it. I'm going to show you what that does and what effects that that what effects you get from that. And I want to thank Kirk Tracy for telling me what that effect is. And you might know, you, you, you might be asking, well, can you really hum into an instrument? Or can you really hum into the saxophone? Yes, you can. And what this effect does, let me show you. I'm going to put my
Apple Music expands song
I'm
Larry.
gonna
Apple expanded.
let's keep that quiet for a little bit. I'm going to hum into it now, and I'm going to show you what this produces. Here we go. Okay, what that does is when you hum into your instrument, what that does is it produces what's called a growling effect. And you may not be used to that quite yet, but once you do get used to it, it becomes a beautiful sound when you use your voice box as well to hum into it. Now, I know I covered the vibrato movement on the saxophone and how that's what that sounds like and how you do it. But I'm also going to cover, as a vision impaired person who plays the saxophone, what benefits you get out of playing this wonderful instrument. One of the things that I really like about this instrument, one of the things I love about the saxophone, uh, not only is it beautiful sounding, and not only is it a sweet sound to listen to, especially if you're asleep, but also it's one of the instruments in in the in the woodwind community that allows a person with a handicap to really feel a note as far as what how it sounds and what it feels like, what that note really feels like. Now, I know I talked about putting your hand over the voice box and feeling the vibration of a note, and I'm going to get more onto that in a little while. But what I mean by feeling a note, I mean I don't read off the sheet, so what I do is I feel I feel the vibration of a note that I'm playing, so I can get accuracy in terms of how it sounds, if I'm sounding good, if I'm sounding off key, etc., etc. So other instruments, and I'll go into a little quick detail. Other instruments like the piano is a great instrument, but the only downside to that instrument, and this is people that are vision impaired but that rely on sense of touch because our other senses don't work. Our other parts of our eyes don't work. The downside to that instrument, I mean, it's a great instrument and it's a great place to start. But the
Los
downside,
Angeles County agreed.
keep that quiet for a minute. The downside to that instrument, to the piano, is that not only are the keys flat, but you really can't feel what you're doing on the piano. You can hear what you're doing, but you can't feel it up close. And which is bad, especially if you are a blind a musician who relies on vibrations as far as being able to really feel up front what you are doing. And when I first got my hands on the saxophone, and I'm going to talk about this in the video, what instrument, in this video, uh, what instrument to consider, what instrument will work well for your needs as a handicapped musician who is looking to play out in the community and play with other people. The best instrument that will really help you in the long term is definitely the saxophone, because it allows a blind person, as well as a person who is partially sighted, who can't see, to really, who doesn't have enough vision, to really feel up close what they're playing. And also, I'm going to give you another example because of the instrument's tactile keys. That is a big, noticeable thing of this beautiful instrument. That is a beautiful feature of this instrument because, as you can hear, all of the keys are extremely tactile, which is great for people that have limited dexterity issues, that can't use flat key based instruments like the piano, for instance, who have done it well, but over time their fingers didn't like the flatness of the keys, and I happen to, unfortunately, fall into this category. But there are some people in the music industry who are blind that play the piano quite well, who can easily do it and don't have these issues, and that is excellent. That is excellent. But for those of us that do have a little bit of manual dexterity issues with our fingers, flat key based instruments may not work because of their design, and also because you can't feel the vibration of a note. That may present some challenges, that may present some problems in the long run. Now, I'm going to give you some other examples of the saxophone, what it has as far as fingering features. Now, to hit note A, you put one finger on this key and then blow. And I'm going to give you an example because this is sort of like keystrokes on a computer. Now, you hit one key, hold down this key, and then blow. Okay. Now to hit your note A, and this is the alto saxophone that I'm using, you put two fingers on another key. And this is exactly what the saxophone offers. This is called fingering features, because it's sort of like keystrokes on a computer, sort of, but it's on an instrument. And this is a lot easier to understand, and it's more intuitive, especially if you have a vision impairment and also have manual dexterity issues in your finger where you can't play flat key based instruments where the keys are so flat, you can't feel it. Okay, now to hit note A, you put two fingers on the second key. All right. Now for note G, you put your third finger your ring finger on the third button. And this is sort of like, again, this is kind of like keystrokes on a computer, but it's fingering features. It's exactly like keystrokes on a computer. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it's sort of like pressing a keystroke to open something on a computer, but it's on an instrument like the saxophone, and it's a beautiful design. It's a very easy and very intuitive design, especially if you are a blind person who is a musician who is looking for the perfect instrument. Now, to hit the note below that, which is C sharp, you put, okay, this is B, A, and then G, and then when you want to hit the C sharp, you put your fourth finger on this button, which will automatically close the tone hole. And again, this is another fingering technique, sort of like keystrokes on a computer, but it's on the saxophone here. Put your fourth finger, put your other finger on this key, and then you get C sharp. Okay, now to do E, you put your middle finger on this button above that, and it's very easy. It's very, very, very easy, very simple. And now you have two fingers on both buttons with your first, second, and third finger on B, A, and G. But to do E, you put two fingers, you lift that up, and then put two fingers, and that on this button on the right side, and that will do note E. That will cause your voice box to do a low note. Now, the saxophone is a voice instrument, but it uses the reed to convert your voice box into a saxophone voice. And right here, this is note E. Okay, now right below that note, this is where you put your pinky finger on the little pinky platform, which is one of these buttons down here. And that note is D sharp. And in order to do that note, you hit this other button with your ring finger, which is the third button, and then put your pinky finger on the little pinky platform down here on the bottom, on the left side, and then you get note D sharp. This is what that sounds like. Here we go. Okay, now we come to note D, and how you do this. Now, leave your fingers on 1, 2, 3, A, B, and C, except leave your other finger on the remaining 3 keys on the left, middle, and right side.
Authentication. Login
And
window.
you
Logged in
hit
Tim Johnson button.
with all 3 with both your left and right hand on all 3 fingers, or excuse me, on all 3 keys on the left side and right side of the horn, you will get note D. And you can also feel the vibration of that note on the instrument, because the saxophone itself does vibrate, and you can feel that note. And you can feel if it's sounding good or sounding a little off key or not coming out at all, besides hearing it. And this is one of the beautiful features of this instrument. Now, to do the lower note C, you put your finger on the lower bottom pinky platform, which is in the center, which is this little button down here on the center. Then you will get note C. Okay. Now, for the lower note C sharp, leaving all 3 hands, all 3 fingers on the keys, along with all 3 fingers, both on the left and right side. Now you put your pinky platform on the right side, which is this big large button down here on the right side, the lower right side of the horn, and that will cause your voice box to generate note C sharp. Now we come to the lower note G. This is a hard one, or lower note G. Lower note B. This is a hard one to do, and I am definitely getting this one down. And when you want to do that note, practice with long notes so that your low note B can sound good. And that way, and that way your jaw muscles will also get used to doing that low note, as well as your voice box getting used to it. So to do the low note B, you will, again, with all 3 fingers, both on the left side, on all 3 keys, along with on the left side, as well as all 3 keys on the left and right side, and with your pinky platform on the right side, now you hit this upper left pinky platform, which will generate note B, low BB. And this is a tricky one to do, but once you do it enough times, it becomes magic. So we're going to do the low note BB. Here we go. And I got my finger on the left pinky platform. This is what that sounds like. Here we go. Again, that one's tricky, but once you do it, it becomes magic. And now the final note that we're going to show you, which is a part of the fingering features of this instrument, is the low A sharp. Again, this one's tricky. But But the more you keep practicing that note, it becomes easier and easier over time. Your muscles in your mouth, as well as your voice box, will get used to doing this note. Here we go. We're going to put our, with all three keys on the instrument on the left and right side, along with the pinky platform on the bottom right corner. Now we're going to put our pinky on the way left corner, which will generate note AA, the low note AA, and that will cause our voice box to do the lower note AA. Low A sharp. And this one's tricky, but we're going to see if we can do it. Okay, that one's a bit tricky, but once you do it enough times, it becomes easier and easier for you. And if you practice the long notes, it will get easier and easier to do over time. And I've been playing now for over a year, almost. I got my saxophone in December 2017. I am 36 years old. And I've been playing now for about a year. And I love this instrument. I love what it offers, especially if you are vision impaired. And especially with the fingering features that it offers if you are vision impaired. And it's a really great instrument. And I would highly recommend this wonderful instrument to anybody who is vision impaired, who is looking to start playing an instrument and playing out in the community with a band that they know of, or out in the community, out in public, around other people. Okay, well, that will conclude this video for now, and I will talk to you guys later.
QuickTime Player, movie recording window, stop recording button.